important even just a couple of days working with Jaron Boots Ennis is going to be for Canelo, just to see a bit of the tempo, a bit of that switching of stance, because let's be honest, there's not many guys that Canelo has fought that have fought out of both stances and done it as fluidly as Boots Ennis or as Bud Crawford will do in their fight.
Bien, bien hecho. Bonita finta otra vez ahí. No se la cambia.
When Crawford fight, I'm not Crawford. I don't think Boots fight like Crawford at all. That was just I think the comparison they was making initially was just as they both were switch hitters and they both could be so naturally. That's really the only thing that they do the same.
Bien, bien, bien. Dándole la cintura bastante. Eso, bien, bien hecho. Bonita finta otra vez ahí. No se la cambia. Ahí. Suavecito y remate. Otra vez. Y remate largo. Suavecito y remate. Un pasito atrás y ahorita sí. Saludado. ¿Cómo va la Le levanto el
Too many are viewing this as a bold message coming out of Canelo's camp. Former champion Andre Dirrell pointed out that this decision signals Canelo's determination to enter September in peak condition, with zero room for overconfidence. Ennis is recognized for his speed, explosiveness, and adaptability, making him one of the closest stylistic matches to Crawford. Bringing Boots into camp not only acknowledges Crawford's abilities, but also emphasizes just how seriously Canelo is approaching this showdown.
I don't know, because there's things I know about camp and how they want things to go. So is it going to be that way? Is y'all going to try to alter the camp, or is y'all going to let them go, or... I mean, is y'all looking to still?
Give me the psychology behind both sides. What does Jaron Ennis get from this? What does Canelo Alvarez get from this?
I mean, Jaron Ennis get from it being in with the elite, a guy who's prepared for everything. One thing you can't say about Canelo is that he hasn't seen something. Canelo's seen southpaws, he's seen tall guys, short guys, slick fighters, he's seen bulls, he's been up against everything. So you get a world of experience with a guy like Canelo. You get a guy who's in full confidence with a guy like Canelo. So with that type of boxing, I would see Canelo really not worried about so much of what Boots trying to do to him, but really just paying attention to him. But then it's the same, like, I don't know, I can see Boots kind of like, I think the mindset for Boots would be not only to prove I can hang, but to also be trying to see what will come with this shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but I don't think I would do that. I don't know. It's just me. I just think, the only reason I say that, because I think Boots can get that fight. I think Boots can end up in a fight with Canelo. And I'm saying that because, you know, the reason I say I wouldn't do it is because I wouldn't spar you and then here go a year later they fighting. Nah,
I mean, for as much as it does for Canelo, it does for Boots, though, right? If that were to be the case.
Yeah, but there's so many ways it could go. And what I'm saying is, if I was to be where Boots is right now, if one thing we can all agree on, everybody hate Boots right now. They mad at Boots, right?
Jose Benavidez Sr. was quick to downplay the buzz around Canelo's sparring partners, making it clear that his team isn't letting the online chatter affect their focus. In his eyes, the only thing that truly counts is what happens when the opening bell rings on fight night. He explained that fans often put too much weight on sparring news, forgetting that training partners are simply tools to sharpen skills. Whether Canelo works with Ennis or anyone else, it doesn't change the reality that Crawford is a completely different challenge. For Benavidez Sr., results aren't measured in sparring sessions. They're decided under the bright lights in a real fight. His perspective is a reminder that while headlines fuel excitement, seasoned camps stay grounded, locked in on their own game plan.
You camp with Canelo. I do believe this is get back on Crawford for not taking the fight with Boots back in 2024 when Boots called him out. But Crawford was on the bigger and better things, baby. That bigger and better things being Canelo Alvarez, September 13th, 2025. Bigger legacy, bigger name, bigger payday, bigger status. So, too little, too late, Boots. But I am looking forward to how you advance in your career after this, because this camp is definitely going to level you up, man. You're going to get better because of it in every aspect. Toughness, skill set, smarts. You're going to get a lot from this camp, champ. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you do because of it. You're already a bad man, dog. I want to see where you take it from here. But Crawford, it's over. I believe he walking away in the sunset, especially if he walk away with the victory, which I'm hoping for. But you, champ, you're going to have to settle for something else. Get Canelo that work, man. He going to need it. He going to need it. According to Roy Jones, Canelo got to be on his A game. You got to be on yours too, man. We looking forward to seeing what you do after this. It's raining on me right now, so I'm going to cut this short, baby. But Boots, get somebody else, champ. Get somebody else. I'm out.
Boxing fans were stunned when a post from Boxing Orbit revealed a photo of Canelo Alvarez sparring with Jaron Ennis. The update instantly set the boxing world buzzing, with reactions pouring in from fans and analysts everywhere. Trainer Greg Hackett called this one of the most significant moves in the build-up to Canelo's September 13th clash with Terence Crawford. He explained that the surprise and excitement from the public makes sense because few expected Canelo to bring Ennis into camp. While it might appear unusual at first, Hackett stressed that there's nothing random about this choice. Preparing. For an opponent like Crawford, someone defined by ambition, adaptability, and relentless pressure, requires the right kind of sparring. Ennis, with his speed, explosiveness, and hunger to prove himself, offers exactly that. According to Hackett, Ennis isn't just another sparring partner, he's one of boxing's brightest rising stars. By surrounding himself with such a challenge, Canelo is making sure he's tested every day in ways that truly matter. What some might dismiss as a gimmick, Hackett sees as a carefully designed strategy. In his eyes, Canelo's team is showing real respect for Crawford, leaving no space for surprises when fight night arrives.
I mean, I think it's good work. Crawford, I don't think Crawford fight. I'm not Crawford. I don't think Boots fight like Crawford at all. That was just I think the comparison that they was making initially was just as they both were switch hitters and they both could be so naturally. That's really the only thing that they do the same. They don't do anything else the same, literally. So I never understood the comparison in that myself. But I think it's still a good look because all work is good work and you want the best work. You feel what I'm saying? So if Jaron Ennis is supposed to be the best work, even though he was a 47-pounder and not going up to 54, which is the same thing that Crawford was. I don't know, man. I don't know. But I do think that Boots getting a lot of unnecessary backlash about doing it, though. I don't agree with the backlash he's getting about, you know what I'm saying, going to spar, getting that paycheck, getting that experience. Because I think he needed it anyway. I always talk trash about him. I always stand in Philly, hiding in Philly. He don't want to go outside to spar. He don't want to go outside to do nothing else. So in this case right here, I think it's well needed for his career. It's needed for the building of a fighter. You know what I'm saying? You got to go out. You got to go in certain different types of territories and places and get that kind of work. So I mean, I think Boots getting a lot of unnecessary criticism, and if I'm defending him, it's real. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's getting a lot of unnecessary criticism, talking about sellout and all of that. That's some bullshit. Like
Alo Oladapo offered a sobering perspective, reminding fans that today's Canelo is not quite the same fighter he was in his prime years. He pointed back to the Golovkin rematch in 2018 as the night when Alvarez looked at his absolute best. That was 7 years ago, and while Canelo has continued to perform at an elite level, Oladapo argued he hasn't appeared as sharp or untouchable since. This raises the question of whether even smart training decisions, like bringing in Ennis, are enough to close the gap between Canelo's current form and Crawford's peak momentum. Oladapo's remarks put added pressure on Team Alvarez, suggesting that the intense sparring might reflect an awareness that today's version of Canelo requires extra reinforcement to meet the challenge ahead.
You know, whatever, we're not even like thinking about it anymore, and you were just like, you know, Canelo is slipping and stuff like that. Does it make you kind of rethink Canelo and that Crawford fight to be like, well, he's really taking it serious to bring in a guy like Jaron Ennis?
Well, like I said, you know, I don't really focus on that. You know, we stay in our lane, you know, and try to get better ourselves. And whatever they do, whatever they decide to bring in or whatever, you know, I'm pretty sure they have a plan. But I don't really focus on what other people do. We focus on what we do in order to get better ourselves. Because we do have a lot of things that we need to fix and get better at. So my respects to whatever they do or whatever they're doing, you know, but at the end of the day, you know, I think it's a good thing, but we don't really focus on that, you know, what other people do. You know, like I said, we got to get better at our craft.
Brian Norman shared a more critical take, noting that while Jaron "Boots" Ennis is an outstanding talent, his style doesn't fully reflect what Terence Crawford brings to the ring. According to Norman, the only real similarities might lie in their physical attributes and the type of power punches they throw. Beyond that, he emphasized, the two approach boxing in very different ways. Crawford is a strategist, constantly switching stances, setting traps, and adjusting mid-fight with precision. Ennis, on the other hand, relies more on explosiveness and aggression. Norman cautioned that although sparring with Boots will provide Canelo with a serious test, it cannot truly replicate the unique challenge of facing Crawford on fight night. His perspective serves as a reminder that while the move is valuable, it also has clear limitations.
That means that he did get work. That's what that means to me. That's what you need. I don't want Canelo in camp beating up nobody. I want people beating up on him. I want people putting in that work, giving him looks he ain't seen. That's what's going to make him ready for Crawford. I don't want to see smiling Canelo. I don't want to see Canelo happy. That means he did good the first time they sparred. No, I want him frustrated and angry. That's how it's supposed to be. Bring somebody in camp, they give you that work. Even Mayweather talked about how Earl Spence gave him that work when he was trying to get him ready for a fight. Because by the end of the camp, Canelo will be the one smiling.
I love it. I'm going to tell y'all why I love it. I'm going to tell y'all why I love this shit. I was wondering, I was like, I wonder who Canelo has in camp with him to prepare for Bud, because I know Shakur Stevenson's not going to help.
Johnny Ortiz gave an energetic reaction to the sparring arrangement, calling it a smart and perfectly timed decision for both camps. In his view, Boots is the closest stylistic match to Terence Crawford that Canelo could realistically bring in, making him an ideal choice for preparation. Ortiz also stressed that the setup isn't one-sided. Ennis himself benefits greatly by sharing rounds with a proven veteran like Alvarez, gaining experience that will serve him in future fights. He highlighted how rare and valuable this type of collaboration is, since it equips both fighters with tools they can carry forward. For Ortiz, the move isn't just exciting, it's strategically brilliant and mutually rewarding.
I don't think that Crawford is fighting the best Canelo anymore. Again, the Canelo I'm talking about, I mean, second Golovkin fight, I thought he was fucking incredible. That was, when was that? Jeez, that feels like a long time ago. Second Golovkin fight was 2018. So I'm saying peak Canelo, although still very, very good people, peak Canelo for me was 6 years ago. It's a long time, or 5.5 years, that's a long time. In fact, exactly 15th of September, so it'll be to the day 5 years. Have I got them? What was I talking about? Sorry, 7 years ago. Jeez, that's a long time ago. Where some might say peak Crawford was Errol. So, shit, I didn't realize how long ago that was. And he's clearly not that same guy anymore. It clearly isn't. He's no longer fighting elite fighters. I mean, unless you're going to say William Skull was elite, Edgar Berlanga, no, Munguia, no, Jamel, no, John Ryder, no, the third Golovkin fight, no. So he's no longer fighting the best, but he still is very good, and he's still a top 168 pounder. And I think this is why people are saying it is a 50-50 fight now, because we can see the deterioration in Canelo. Like, say what you want about William Skull, Canelo looked poor in that fight as well. Everyone's like, oh, William Skull ran. Well, Canelo didn't cut off the exits. Canelo wasn't great himself. Canelo's punch output was horrendous, so we can clearly see the deterioration. That said, he is the naturally bigger guy. I just mentioned the fact that Crawford's put on size, but the naturally bigger guy in this weight class is Canelo. That has to count for something. We know Canelo's been able to absorb punches from the naturally bigger guys. I mean, barely anyone's put a dent in this guy, right? That's how good his chin is. Maybe the best chin in boxing. It's frightening. But the legs have slowed down. The output has slowed down as well. And I always think about, with Canelo, desire and want and will. I always sort of say, where is that desire?
Analysts reviewing. The move agree that sparring with Jaron Boots Ennis gives Canelo meaningful preparation. They note that Ennis brings speed, sharp angles, and relentless pressure, qualities few sparring partners can deliver inside the gym. Facing those attributes day after day helps condition Canelo to better handle Crawford's unpredictability, while some experts caution that Ennis and Crawford differ in their tactical approach. The sheer challenge of dealing with someone of Boots' caliber sharpens timing, reflexes, and mental resilience. For many observers, this type of preparation highlights what separates the elite from the ordinary, seeking out the toughest tests before stepping under the lights on fight night.
He's been there for a bit, but this is a big deal because not only did he come in and train with Canelo, it looks like some sparring went down, as you can see here, posted by the Ring magazine, Canelo and Boots Ennis standing there together. By the way, Boots Ennis looks bigger than Canelo in this picture. And we all know that Canelo's not a massive 168 pounder, but Boots Ennis at 147 was having trouble making the weight still, is going to 154, just so happens to be the two weight classes that Terence Bud Crawford just came from, 147 to 154. Boots has a fight coming up soon for his debut at 154. You have to think sooner or later he's going to be grabbing a belt because he's in a title eliminator coming up anyway. But again, it's very interesting because we all know how good Boots Ennis is, and it's interesting for a couple of reasons. Number one, you look at this picture, and Boots Ennis is a monster. I can see him going to 160 pounds and still doing very well. I think he's going to do great at 154. But the question you have to ask yourself is why? Why would Canelo bring in Jaron Boots Ennis? And it's not just because Ennis is a great boxer. It's not just because Ennis fought at the highest level of 147 and is going to be at the highest level of 154, so he's a smaller guy that Canelo can use in camp to see how a smaller guy of this era moves, as Canelo's maybe not had as much experience with that since moving to 168. Usually he's the smaller guy fighting some of the bigger guys. But that's not all this is.
Not every analyst is convinced that bringing in Boots will ultimately benefit Canelo. Critics acknowledge Ennis as a tremendous fighter, but argue that his presence in Canelo's camp has already stirred debate. They point out that styles, backgrounds, and even psychological factors all play a role in fight preparation and sparring. Alone can't fully mirror Crawford's unique mentality and ring IQ. Some even caution that relying too heavily on Ennis as a Crawford replica could backfire, since no sparring partner can perfectly replicate what Crawford does inside the ring. The skepticism underscores the complexity of preparing for a fight of this magnitude, serving as a reminder that while sparring is valuable, it's no guarantee of victory against a fighter as adaptable and intelligent as Terence Crawford.
Makes sense, and it's definitely a good experience for both. Eddie Reynoso and Canelo, shout out to them, because now it shows that they serious with a real game plan, and Boots is, to me, everybody's a perfect opponent. I wouldn't say opponent, perfect sparring partner to have to replicate Crawford, because they both switch hitters and stuff like that, and they got dog in them and reflexes for sure. So it shows Canelo serious, and on Boots end, to be able to spar a Hall of Famer, top tier guy, is giving him great experience, and you could tell he really wants it.
Been seeing mixed reviews. You got a portion of the fans that are just shocked that this happened. You got a portion of the fans that's like, yay, Canelo now has the edge. Those will be Canelo fans, and you got Terence Crawford fans that I'm seeing calling him a traitor. You already know the other word.
Yeah, it's a difference between a fans there's Terence Crawford fans, which is cool. Then there's the Terence Crawford, I call them bud clowns, where all of a sudden they want to act like Dr. Umar and shit. They want to be fake woke. Like, woke for what? Like, it's a sport where Boots is getting an opportunity to spar a Hall of Famer. Who cares? And in reality, what the fuck loyalty does Boots owe to Crawford when it comes to the sport of boxing? I mean, Crawford didn't do shit even back while Boots was trying to get his opportunity when it was Spencer Crawford. Every time Boots' name got mentioned, you hear the bud clowns be like, oh yeah, he don't deserve it. Oh, who did he fight? Oh, who this and that, man. I ain't trying to hear that shit. It's like it's different shit that you need to be woke up outside of boxing. Boxing is a sport. There's shit that we need to really come together. I didn't see y'all come together like 5 years. The Bud Clowns, because it's real fans, the Bud Clowns is bashing PBC.
Supporters of Canelo's camp argue that Jaron "Boots" Ennis is the closest option available to mimic Crawford in training, given their shared blend of athleticism, stance-switching ability, and genuine knockout power. Those traits force Canelo to adjust constantly in sparring, which sharpens his preparation. Bringing Ennis into camp signals that Alvarez is leaving nothing to chance, showing his team's seriousness about this matchup. Analysts note that these sessions send a clear message. Canelo isn't underestimating Crawford. Instead, he's preparing for every possible scenario, an approach that reflects both respect for Crawford's skill and determination to rise to the challenge.
2 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 39 big wins by way of knockout, will not learn and not be able to pick up from Jaron "Boots" Ennis sparring Canelo Alvarez. There's an uproar because Jaron "Boots" Ennis, African-American fighter, black boxer, has joined the Mexicans' camp to help prepare the Mexican fighter, Canelo Alvarez, defeat another African-American fighter, which he needs Jaron Ennis to give him looks of the undefeated pound-for-pound king, 4-division world champion, 2-division undisputed world champion, superstar boxer who will be a first ballot Hall of Famer once he retires as well, in Terence "Bud" Crawford, who has 41 wins, no loss, no draw, 31 wins by way of knockout.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.
The boxing scene was caught off guard after news emerged that Canelo Alvarez has been sharpening his skills with Jaron "Boots" Ennis in sparring sessions, gearing up for his highly anticipated showdown with Terence Crawford. That wraps up today's breakdown. Stay tuned for more updates, and I'll catch you in the next one.